The magic of the Fireside Tales. I could not pick a more complicated subject to try and discuss. Before I begin, I have a few notes for you all. First, the Seth Commercial-a-thon entries will be due by the end of the month. Please leave your business's name in the YouTube comments, and I will make them a free video. And I guess you all don't have to shout me out on your Facebook page, because we haven't gotten a lot of entries yet, so just anyone who wants to do it, I'll do it for free. The second note is that we are outside right now. Yeah, I thought it'd be a nice change of scenery. You get tired of standing in front of a white wall all the time, and videos where I'm in a different place or with different people do somewhat better than the ones where I'm not, so who knows? And finally, this video is being made just because I need time to make some other episodes. I'm also breaking a little bit. It's been hard, you know. This channel is just dying. It's dying. That's all it's doing. And I can't say I didn't expect it. I knew this channel would do poorly, at least to begin with, and pretty much no matter what I do, it would fail. But that's just the way it is. It's that kind of world, you know. But I keep doing it because, you know, we all need a little bit of the man in gray in us. It's going to destroy us, but we need to have him, I think. But I'm sorry, I was getting a little deep there. I go on these philosophical tandems sometimes. But anyways, the magic of the Fireside Tales. The thing you have to know about it is, it's impossible to know when it's going to occur or what it's going to be. And it's not impossible to control it, but it is difficult. And it's unpredictable. It is an unpredictable thing. That said, there are a few rules to it. Not many, but the man in gray is only allowed to occupy a limited amount of space in existence. We actually know the real number. It's only about the size of our own world, with all the continents put together, but it's kind of dispersed out. Maybe a little bit bigger than that. Maybe about our world and a second world. You know, two of our land masses combined, basically. Very limited space. But the man in black has his rules too. He cannot kill the nymphs, the dryads, the sylphs, and the imps. This is a rule that he can break only if he becomes the great truth. And there's a few other things. The man in gray has to have a certain amount of the man in black inside of him, and that's why some creatures like wizards can control magic, because the man in black is there. But the best way I can discuss this subject is going by the higher powers and going down from that. And the highest power is the divine, like the angels, the demons, the genies. And these creatures can do, not everything, but they can do a lot. They can't overstep the boundaries of the man in black, the man in gray, or the man in white when they're in their worlds respectively. For instance, if someone made a wish to a genie to make the entire world a Lego world, they would not be capable of doing this. That would be overstepping the boundaries set up by the man in black. They also couldn't do anything like kill all the humans on the earth. There are rules, but genies and angels and demons are powerful. Can do pretty much everything else. They can make, if you wanted a whole treasure trove of gold, they could make that happen. In fact, genies are fine with that. In fact, they see it as a sign of a human being tough, you know, trying to survive and taking what they can get. Genies are both a little bit evil and a little bit good. They're kind of in the middle of an angel and a demon. The second level are the they're like the man in black, the man in gray, the man in white, the Grim Reaper, nothingness. The man in black, he's almost as powerful than the man in gray. You wouldn't think that, but he can overstep any of the things the man in gray can do, and often will, if he can find it. But the man in gray is capable of doing things and telling his own stories and not getting caught by the man in black. There's like entire days worth of things. But one thing the man in gray is not capable of doing is stopping the man in black entirely. He can't come to our world and make it the man in gray's world. In fact, I don't know if you'd call it a role, but until he becomes the great truth, he can't do that yet. He could kill the man in black, but that's never happened in billions of years, so it's almost a role that he can't do that either. The next order, the third level, would be the nymphs, the imps, the sylphs, and the dryads, the nature spirits. These were just lesser than the angels, and they came to this world because they had some sin, but not a lot. They, well, the imps do. The imps are a little bit more towards the side of evil, but they're capable of really very nature things. The dryads are more known for their ability to see through time. They can look at the past, the present, and the future. And there are some rules with that. One thing is, if a dryad were to come up to me, and also a seer, seers are able to do this, but they're not seen as powerful as dryads. But if a dryad was to come up to me and say, tomorrow you are going to drink a Diet Coke, I could say no to that. I could change that. But a dryad can predict a certain thing, like that I'm going to die someday, and they'll be right no matter what. Dryads usually only make predictions that they know will happen. That said, there are things like you'd never expect a dryad to say, because you wouldn't think that there's a 100% chance that will happen. But there are stories devoted to those predictions, you know, of the future, the things that will happen in the future, even if it sounds like they wouldn't happen. So it's just it can be surprising what dryads will predict. They are also, like the nymphs, are more able to turn into water. They can move their spirit through things. Some of them are even known, like Poseidon, to have the ability to change reality somewhat, but there are rules to what he can do. It's usually only over sea life. Poseidon has a particular power over sea life. And his name's not really Poseidon. It's more like the sea god, but his name's been misinterpreted as that. And he even goes by it at times because he's just so well known for that by the other communities. I think a lot of them can shapeshift. There's a few that can turn invisible. Again, it's an unpredictable thing. You never know what an individual's going to have, what they're capable of, and they can just do it in a snap. All they have to do is think about it. That's how the man in gray works. He's a little bit more lazy than the man in black in that way. There's not any, you don't have to do a whole bunch of formulas to figure out how to manipulate him. The final level would be, well, not the final level, the fifth level would be non-magical creatures, but the fourth level would be the wizards and a few other things. I can't think of what the other ones would be like now. Witches, some of the Man in Gray's army, some of the creatures from the Man in Gray's world. And wizards are usually bad. There's a few that belong to the prophets, and I would say most of them are evil. But that's only for humans. Now, a talking animal can be good and have magical powers, because they belong to the Man in Gray's world. It's not natural for a human to have the Man in Gray's powers. It's just, they can't comprehend it, for one thing, and it usually turns them sour and makes them go to demons and things like that. There's a few exceptions to that, but usually it's because it's been decided by a higher being that they should be good. It's not very common. Some of the powers that these creatures could have, though, would be like flight, the ability to... There's this belief that they can do curses. It's not an impossible idea. I don't believe it. I think that if they do a curse, it's because they've predicted it. Oh, seers! Wizards and seers. That would be the fourth level. But they can predict things that are going to happen and make it seem like they had a magical power. For instance, the coronavirus. That's a great example. That was a certain thing to happen. No matter what a wizard would say, it's going to happen regardless of whether or not human beings' free will would interfere with that. They can also They can also animate objects, shapeshift. It's amazing what these creatures are capable of, and it proves that there can be a different thing than this world. I will admit, I'm finding that a comforting thought in life right now in my life, that humanity isn't everything. It's just, you live in this world so long, it does become exhausting when you think to yourself that this is it, it's all humans and their way of thinking, that we are like the gods over the universe, really. But we're not. We're not the gods over the universe. There's things that are higher than us. There are things that are more powerful. And I find it a comforting thought. Because no matter what happens to me and how I'm treated by everyone else, I can always keep in mind that, you know, we're not the only ones out there. So, sweet dreams and good day.